Coping with Tre Tailor, giving you info and advice to help you thrive and survive in life, because we'll always be coping with something. Coping.
Hey there. Thank you so much for joining us for Coping. I'm Tre Tailor. We're giving you info and advice to help you thrive and survive in life because we will always be coping with something. Today, we are coping with entrepreneurship. Sandra Sims joins us to discuss how she and her husband, who are partners in professional and personal, are coming together to expand their catering business into franchising at the Columbia Airport. Sandra, thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations.
Thank you. We're so appreciative for the opportunity to be with you today, Tre. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. We're going to come right back with Sandra Sims in just a short. But first, hey, don't forget to check the bottom of the screen throughout the show. You'll see scrolling information about COVID tests, vaccines. Yes, that's still a thing. Community events, job listings, financial resources, including scholarships, help with your rent, mortgage bills, and so much more. We are streaming on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. So please post, share, like, and follow so we can get the message to the masses. Today, we are coping with entrepreneurship. Sandra Sims joins us. She and her husband, Herbert, are caterers, they're restaurateurs, and they own businesses at the Columbia International Airport in Columbia, South Carolina. They've recently announced that those 3 restaurants will be transformed into franchises. Sandra, this is such exciting news,
Really, Tre, it is. We're really excited about it. In fact, we actually have 5 concepts out here, and we're going to transform 4 of those concepts and hope to build the franchise even more. We're excited because we are turning some of our locally owned, our creations into some national branding. So we own right now a sub-organization that's called Carolina Sub.
Okay.
And so we bought into a Jimmy John's franchise. And so we're going to bring Jimmy John into the airport. And then we have what we call a Sunrise Cafe, which is like our breakfast menu that you can get sandwiches and stuff. Well, we're turning that into Dunkin's Donut in the Columbia Airport. So that's really exciting for us. And then our bar, we have a bar that's called Riverbank Bar and Grill. And it's going to go to Samuel Adams Columbia Brew House. And then our last one is not a rebrand. It's right now it's called, and I'm sorry because we're in the airport.
I was going to say, you're in the airport, so we can hear.
So I apologize if you hear someone else.
It's okay. You're at work, girl. You're at work.
Okay. So we have another concept that's called Sky Cafe and Grill and Sky Cafe and Bar, and we're actually going to bring the friendly caterer to go to the airport, and it's going to be pre-security, so people will actually be able to come into the airport. They can park in the 20-minute parking zone, come in, pick up their food, go back, or they could choose to park in the garage, come in and dine with us, and you will be able to we will be featuring a lot of the items that we cater all over the city now, that we've been catering for over 30 years now.
Collard green egg rolls or collard green egg rolls
will be on the menu, yes.
One of my favorites.
And so we're excited about that part. And then we have a brand that's called the Barbecue Pit. And the Barbecue Pit's been here with us since we took over the airport about 15 years ago. So we're going to maintain the Barbecue Pit because you can get a meat and 3 vegetables, or meat and 2 vegetables. A good traditional
meal, yeah.
The traditional meal here in the airport, and our barbecue is talked about all over the airwaves because people come here and tell people you need to get that barbecue. It's really good. So we're excited about the remodel, the construction that's going on, the transformation that's happening within the concession area, but also throughout the airport. The airport is doing a lot of great things to help bring more travelers through the Columbia Airport and make flying from Columbia easy. So we're excited to be a part of it.
Sandra Sims joins us. She is a entrepreneur, a restaurateur. She has a catering business, she and her husband together. And she's been talking to us about the expansion of their businesses at the Columbia International Airport. So many things that you talked about that I want to talk about. First, let's talk about the franchise piece. Sandra, why did you choose franchising, and why did you choose those three brands?
Well, the airport wanted some national branding. And, if you think about it, when you travel, there's a lot of branding out there,
Right.
but you tend to gravitate towards the national
So what
brands.
you know?
What you know. Exactly. And so it's not that we did not want to have our local flavor here, but some national would make it even better. So we did our research. We went out and visited a lot of different franchisees and found that Dunkin' Donut right now is the leading franchise, only second to Chick-fil-A, and that
Wow.
our airport uh, will be in the runnings of being in the top 20 to have the Dunkin' Donut in it. So we were excited about that. Uh, the cost of Dunkin' Donut was not overwhelming as some franchises do, and so that was very important to us as well. And then their partnership, their relationship, the ease it was to do business with Dunkin' was one of the big things we liked. They're very open to expanding their brand. They recently was inquired by Inspired Brand, so you'll find all kinds of national like Wild Wing, Jimmy John, Baskin Robbins. All of those
Mhm.
are owned under the Inspired Brand, and Jimmy
Oh,
John being a part of the Inspired
the
Brand made that
Inspired,
just the
right.
easiest. That just made it an easy fit. At one point, we wanted to do like a sit down, really dine kind of experience, but in our studies, and let me tell anyone, if you're going into the airport business, check your information. Study first. Don't just jump in there and do it
Right.
because
Study what is needed. And I want to come back to that because you study is a big thing, I'm sure,
it,
about business in general. And I'm sure, especially in the food industry. So I want to talk about that later, but go ahead. I think you want to talk about the Samuel
so,
Adams thing.
so we were looking at doing something like a TGI Friday and an Applebee's or something like that in the airport. And after carefully examining the numbers, and when you think about Applebee's, you're thinking about relaxing, dining
Yeah.
40, 50 minutes. Well, in the airport, people don't eat like that. So
Right.
getting a national brand and partnering with Samuel Adams and making it a bar feel was a grand. So we reached out to Samuel Adams, reached out a couple of um, beer organizations, and Samuel Adams was the best fit. And so they partnered with us and allowed us to do their branding with them. And it's just working. Our bar is going from seating 12 people to 32.
Oh,
So we're
wow.
really excited about that. When people are traveling alone, they tend to go to the bar when they're traveling by themselves. So we're looking forward to capitalizing on that opportunity. It's going to be gorgeous. I'm so excited about it. Um, and then, of course, our own brand, the Friendly Caterer. You just cannot
Right.
say any more other than that. People in the Midlands know us. They understand us. They've tried our food, and so they know they can expect that same thing in return. So
Sandra Sims joins us. She and her husband Herbert have, as she just mentioned, Friendly Caterer, Carolina Concessions. They have several businesses at the Columbia International Airport. She's sharing with us today about the franchises that they are launching: Dunkin' Donuts, a Jimmy John's, and also Samuel Adams Brew House, Columbia. You also talked about the fact that you are doing the Friendly Caterer to go in the terminal's main lobby, and also or a kiosk, an app that people can utilize to get food. That's really innovative, Sandra. Tell us a little bit about that.
yes, and that's exactly where we're trying to move to is keeping up with the millennials and the technology. And I am no techie at all, okay? But I do know the value of it. So within our website, carolinaconcessions.com, you can find an app. You can go in and order online from our restaurants and uh, pick up on your way at your gate at whichever dining you
That's
ordered from.
huge. That's
It's huge.
huge.
It is very huge. And so being able to do that, and then we're also going to be placing kiosks right outside of the area. So if you don't want to stay in the line and you want to go ahead on and place your order, go find your gate and then come back, you can have that option as well. So we're excited about the technology that we're bringing to the airport. And you'll see that's going to be the wave going into the future. And we're just glad that Columbia Airport will be on the front of that wave. So we're excited about it. When you go into our website, we have 2 locations, Trey. I'm not sure if you know, but we have the Columbia Airport as well as Jackson, Mississippi Airport.
Oh,
So
wow.
make sure you click on Columbia when you're flying out of Columbia to make sure you get your food and it's ready when you get here.
Awesome, awesome. Sandra Sims has joined us today. We're coping with entrepreneurism, and she is definitely a person that can speak to the fact of how to be an entrepreneur, how to make it big in the food industry, and how to stay relevant. I've been in Colombia since 2001, and you guys were doing it then. So you've been in the game a long time.
You're
And
telling my age.
but Sandra, you talked a little bit earlier about doing your research. What kind of research do people need to do business with, whether it be the Columbia Airport or any airport? And are there opportunities there?
Yeah, well, in the Columbia Airport and in any airport, there's lots and lots of opportunities that I think people don't see. The food is one of them, but then there's also transportation, valet parking. There's opportunities. Just how the baby boomers. We're the main we're a lot of the big travelers.
Yeah.
And wheelchair pushers. Those are companies that are individually owned within the airport.
Right.
You could be a owner of a company that does nothing but provide fuel to the airports. Or baggage claims to the airport, or they're cleaning at night, cleaning during the day. There's so many opportunities to do business in the airport. The one thing that you have to have in the airport when you come to this business and this footprint is that you have to have some experience. So Herbert and I, and I'm not sure how many of you all know this, but Herbert and I actually owned a concession trailer. He's now joining me. Thank you, Herbert.
Herbert Sims, ladies and gentlemen. Woo! Hey, Herbert, thank you for joining us. Look, I know you were over there handling business, so we thank you for pulling yourself away.
Yeah, so we actually started our business with a food truck back in the early 90s. In the early 90s, he had a food truck before food truck were anything of big nature.
Right.
Yeah. And so he got that experience, and we learned how to concession. We went around to different festivals all over the South.
Everywhere.
And but during all of that, Trey, we both held full-time jobs.
Wow.
Full-time jobs.
That's right.
So we was willing to make the sacrifice
Right.
to be successful. And so we worked all week on our full-time job and then did festivals all weekend for ourselves. And it takes the discipline. And see, once we learned which festivals were successful and which ones weren't, we made that decision which ones to go to and which ones not to.
Yeah.
And then as we grew, people knew us. I'm like, literally people, I'll tell you a story. We was down in, we went to Beaufort for years, right? And so we catered an event for a young man. No, it was in Orangeburg.
Okay.
Actually in Orangeburg. We catered an event there. And this lady came in. She was there and she got our fish. So we was doing fish and chicken for her. And the lady said, golly, this fish is good. I know somebody else who fish tastes just like this. There's only one place I can get this fish like this. And she said, have you ever been to Beaufort? We're like, yeah, we go to Beaufort all the time. She remembered our fish taste from Beaufort, where we sold fish and chicken there, to where we sold it in Orangeburg at a catered event. That alone speaks volume for anyone that's doing business. If you're doing it, do it the same way consistently.
Right.
So people will expect the same thing from you when they get it. So having someone that did not know us and probably just stood in our line and got our fish, and to be at an event and to taste it and it be the same, that speaks volume of the quality. And I tell anyone, be consistent in your business. Don't change it just because it don't work. Maybe it's not the people, maybe it's your product.
Right.
And your product needs tweaking. Because one thing I do know, first impressions are lasting impressions, but you can be a first impression over and over and over again.
That's interesting.
So you really must make sure that you tweak your product to make sure you get the best. And I think our success comes from that people knows what to expect out of us, and we deliver every time. And
Yeah.
quality, we have to work hard anyway, just because we're always behind the eight ball. So if you're willing to give 10% to someone, then expect 10% back. But if you're willing to give 120% to someone, then you can really expect 200% back, because they're going to give you more than they expected. So that's
Yeah.
important to us.
I love that. And listen, in business, it is hard, as you say. It is challenging, as you say. You're going to have some peaks and valleys, but I love that you say to stay consistent to who you are and who your brand is. Herbert and Sandra Sims joins us today on Coping. We're coping with their entrepreneurship. Sandra has been sharing with us about their latest venture in the Columbia Airport, which is amazing. Dunkin' Donuts, Jimmy John's, Samuel Adams Brew House, and then the opportunity for you to order your food before you get to the gate, get it when you get to the gate, and then also an opportunity for you to pick up your food from the airport. Herbert joins us. And Herbert, I want to ask you, listen, you, like Sandra said, you guys have been doing this a long time, and you are doing it both personally and professionally. Tell me about working with the same person that you are married to. As he looks over to her.
Yeah. Well, it's a great feeling of working with your wife, and I have my expertise in the things that I do,
Right.
and then she has her expertise in the things that she does. So I think it's a good experience. It's a good medium for both of us, and we've done it for a lot of years.
How did you find what works for you guys? Because you all, from what I remember, were doing your own thing separately, and then came together in love, and then merged your business models.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, one of the things I give us credit for is that my qualities is in one area and his is in the other. And
Right.
because I'm more of the marketing
Yeah.
upfront person, and he's
Yeah.
more of the cook and make it taste good person,
Right.
then those two together just work. So he owned the Friendly Caterer
Yeah.
before I got there, and I owned an insurance agency. And so when we was working together, I was starting to spend more time with him than I was in my own business. And then opportunities started knocking. So we had to make a decision. So he initially, because during this time, our first 10 years, he was still working as an auditor for the government too.
Wow.
So we had to start making decisions because we're just blowing up, as the young people
And you
say.
didn't have time to do everything, right?
We're not, exactly. So he retired first from his job, and then just start focusing on our businesses. And then so things started to happen again, the airport and those things. He's like, well, you're gonna have to make a decision. You can't keep doing that and doing this too. It's gonna be, and then when we thought about it, we started working for ourselves,
Right.
which
Right.
we're the insurance business, I was working for myself, but I also had someone I had to be accountable to.
Exactly. And that was kind of your safety net, I'm sure.
Right. Exactly. And so I had put 31 years in. No, you put 31 years.
31
I
and
put
a half.
32 years in.
Yeah.
And so we decided to make the retirement. And then we were still dating the first 8 years of our relationship. And then we got married. And then the valley came. Then we came back up out the valley. It was totally a new thing for both of us because we lived in separate households. So we had to learn to live together. And so we got that piece going. And then I've just realized that he's the boss, and I just tell him what to do. But he's the boss. He is the boss. And I have to quote this one great woman that I've always admired, and she has gone and left us now, and that's Miss Doris Johnson. And Doris said, Sandra, there's only one star in the family.
Wow.
And I said, okay. And my husband is the star, and I'm his supporting cast. And we
Wow.
make it work like that.
I
Mhm.
love that. And
Release
you're
her
right. She's
and our
such,
business work.
she was such a wealth of, I mean, first of all, she was just so kind and beautiful and generous and
Generous and
gracious.
funny. Yes.
And
Love it.
yeah, and funny too.
Yeah.
And I love that she shared that and that you were able to receive it.
Yes. 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 Able to receive it. So so with that being done, I tend to do a lot of the upfront stuff and where he's in behind cooking. And so I tell him when we get out into the public and start to produce, I look like the one that's doing all the work. Okay. And he looked like the one that's sitting back. But I know he would have put his time in hours and hours and hours before I have to do what I have to do. And so it works well for us. And he's a great cook. He's got great recipes. He's had perfected it,
Yeah.
perfected all of his recipes. And so, and we have a lot of friends. And so whenever we want to try something new, we call our friends over and let them eat it. And then they tell us what it's good about. So we enjoy doing that. And so, and they enjoy being our testers and they don't mind. And so we've done well as a couple as well as in business. And so it's still, but I don't make it look like it's glamorous because it's not.
Yeah.
It takes Christ all the time in it. If you're not connected with God, and if you don't love your partner so much that you can't imagine life without him, you can't. It won't work. It don't work. It's harder to work. It can work. It's just harder. And so he and I have been blessed that we love each other enough to sacrifice whatever sacrifices we have to make the other happy. And along with that, I trust his business instincts and he trusts my business instincts.
Trust.
And so, trust. And so we've been moving forward since then. And he and I both look back and say, wow, we've done a lot.
Look at where you've come from. Look where you've come from. But you know what, Sandra and Herbert, I mean, what you're saying makes so much sense because it has to do with one, loving Christ, loving each other, respecting what your strengths and weaknesses are, and being there, being what your mate isn't. And like you said, not feeling any type of rivalry or jealousy. You're both on the same team.
Same team, and no one can be good at all of it but Christ. So you have to recognize your weaknesses and go for it, and just be glad that God partnered you with someone to have those strengths, And one of the things Herbert and I are trying to do now is help educate other people.
Great. I was going to ask you about that, mentorship.
Okay, it's to help educate and groom other people. I see so many businesses and restaurant businesses in Colombia that I would love to just, reach out to them or they reach out to me and say, hey, what are you doing? How'd you make it work? And try to show them some of the pointers of what they should be doing versus not doing so that business will thrive, because we have to support our own because no one else will. We have said many, many, many times that we as a people, we eat varieties of food, okay? And so, but there's so many of our counterparts that don't do that. They eat variety, but ours don't make it to their table very well. And so we really have to support each other. So we pride ourselves on trying to be at some African-American restaurant at least once or twice a week when we're out eating, when we're not working, because that's important. We have to support each other.
That's true.
Yeah. And you know what? When you do that, you get it back tenfold. And that's why you guys have been so successful. Herbert and Sandra Sims, they have a business, several businesses at the Columbia International Airport. So when can we see the change to Dunkin' Donuts, Samuel Adams, and Jimmy John's? When does that change?
We should be complete with everything by the end of August. Samuel Adams should be up and open, hopefully by Monday next week. And so it's coming to an end. And we're starting Jimmy John, and the friendly caterer has already been gutted. And so we're ordering equipment for that. So the project, everything should be finished by Labor Day weekend. And we're looking forward to that.
That will be great. A great way to kick off the beginning of September, Labor Day, which is so apropos with all of the great new businesses and so many more conveniences for folks who are traveling in and out of the Columbia International Airport. For more information on the Friendly Caterer, Carolina Concessions, and Herbert and Sandra Sims, you can see the information on the screen. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Good luck to you. God bless. And I'm looking forward to getting my collard green egg rolls at the airport.
Sounds good.
Thank you, Sandra and Herbert Sims. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. So listen, if you have a story or initiative that can help someone cope, please email booking@copingwithtretatailor.com. If you've got a product or service that can help someone cope, please email copingwithtretatailor@gmail.com. We would love for you to be a proud sponsor, just like all of our sponsors that are on the screen right now. And we're going to be right back with our moment of inspiration. I'm Tre Tailor.
Computers, they're a part of our everyday life. But when they're not working, they're an everyday problem. So call Computers Unique, your everyday solution. 803-351-5821. Is your computer running slow? Won't turn on? Do you need a screen replaced? Or maybe you just need another computer? Well, Computers Unique is your one-stop shop for all your computer needs. They have a wide variety of new and pre-owned PCs, Macs, and tablets. So call Computers Unique, Dutch Square Mall. 803-351-5821. 803-351-5821.
Hi, I'm Tre Tailor, and we're always coping with something, but God is always with us. Here's the devotional for today. I love you, God says, for who you are, not for what you do. Man, that's good. Many voices vie for control of your mind, especially when you sit in silence. You must learn to discern what is my voice and what is not. Ask my spirit to give you this discernment. Walk closely with me in each moment, listening for my directions and enjoying my companionship. Refuse to let other voices tie you up in knots. My sheep know my voice and follow me wherever I lead, because I'm always there. That's your devotion for today. I'm Tre Tailor.
Coping, find peace of mind to survive through whatever. Coping, learning the way that we thrive all together. Coping, finding out what's real. Coping, we can heal, we can heal, we can heal. Coping with stress, coping with strife, bringing hope for success, for improving our life. Coping beyond hoping to do more than survive. Ways to live a healthy life. Coping and promoting, learning what you can do. 6 ways to a better you. Coping, find peace of mind to survive